You know, it's time for a special video and actually take the time to play a video clip here. Now, we have been, of course, calling out ComicsGate over the fake numbers that they've been producing. Very obvious what's going on over there. Shane Davis's new project now has been dropping by Edwin Boyette did a update this morning. Says that it's 49% of the last book. Absolutely scary over there if you're one of them because you're losing all of your audience. And the reason they're losing their audience is because they become a full-time anti-indie comics group. Ethan Van Sciver's been losing his mind on John's Longbox overnight, just posting rant after him. John's Longbox, if you ever go to his channel, John's Longbox is a great channel. Independent comics, wonderful stuff. And he makes his own comics as well, which I've promoted here on the channel. And I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to put we put our money where our mouths are here on JDA Talks Comics. I'm going to put John Longbox's new comic, which is in Fund My Comic, in the description below. And like I said, I usually like shill a bunch of my stuff on here, which you can also look in the description below and sign up for my newsletter and the like. I really appreciate it. But I really want to highlight other creators as well because we want to build a indie movement. And John Longbox has been one of those who's really been pushing the indie movement more than anybody else. He interviews indie creators. He interviews big creators as well. He just had John Romita Jr. on. The guy really cares about comics, and his whole channel is about comics. The reason that somebody like Ethan Van Sciver wants to bring him down is because this is somebody who's just not under his control of his little narrative and his little hug box that he has. And because of that, he must be destroyed. And that's exactly what happens every single time. And now John's Longbox is the villain of the week. How did he get to this point? Well, what happened was John's Longbox called out your boy Zach for your boy Zach going crazy and presenting fake screenshots, or not really fake screenshots, but part of the story of a screenshot because he didn't show the entire thing to try to make his narrative about the birthday party clowns who just hate everything. When John Longbox actually said that he loved the movie that was coming out, and the movie was Ballerina. And so it was a disingenuous post. Now, when he got called out like that, your boy Zach went and deleted like 4 months worth of community posts on there as he panicked because he knew what he was doing was pretty bad there. Now, Ethan Van Sciver has kind of like gone and taken sides with your boy Zach, saying because your boy Zach's attacking Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker and Eric July and the like. And so it seems like the whole point of these guys was we lost control of independent comics, so we're going to tear anybody else down who does independent comics. Well, we're going to build people up. Like I said, John's Longbox is a real one. Grab his link in the description below. Go to Fund My Comic. Support books there. Fund My Comic is a great alternative to Indiegogo and Kickstarter, which are paused evil SJW companies. And I'm glad he's running his comic over there and he's doing good work here. Now, this was an interesting thing that actually showed that nobody actually read any of the ComicsGate books. And that's exactly what's been happening this entire time. People have not been reading these books. They grab John Malin and Ethan Van Sciver and Shane Davis's books because they're just simping for like these former DC Comics pros, and they just go out there. It's one of those things that these guys have used to perpetuate the same narrative that the mainstream industry has done for years and years and years, that if you don't work for Marvel and DC Comics, you're not a real comic creator. Now, that's ridiculous because at Marvel and DC Comics, all they do is just copy and paste Stan Lee and, of course, Bob Kane and everybody else's stuff from the 1930s to 1960s and just regurgitate the same characters over and over and over again and don't really create much themselves. They're basically draftsmen over there, and they're doing fan fiction. These are people who can't create themselves a lot of the time, and that's exactly what these guys make careers out of. And so that sort of thing, like propping that up as these are the only real people, is exactly what the mainstream's done to try to keep the comic shop consolidated and actually keep independent comics down over the last 30 years. And it's been a terrible situation for the comic book industry. If you look at like the better, healthier markets like Japan and France for comics, those people over there create their own stuff. They make their own characters. They really build their own storylines where characters progress and things change. And that's why they are healthier, better markets overall. And that's why the American market is having so much trouble. Well, these guys want to perpetuate the same thing. And the reason they do is control. They want to control this crowdfund market. They want to control you. They want to say we're the only real ones out there. Now, it's really, really funny because none of these guys are writers, and so they've never written books in their lives. And in fact, they hate writers because Ethan Van Sciver sits there and goes, "Oh, Jeff Johns gets all the attention for Green Lantern when it was me." Well, Ethan Van Sciver was basically a fill-in artist because Ivan Rice did most of it because Ethan Van Sciver's so slow he couldn't keep up with his schedule, which is eventually why he got let go from DC Comics to begin with. But as you can see, their comics are not memorable, they're not interesting, and this is right here. This is one of their biggest proponents, Liam Gray, who's just this mentally ill nut job Ethan Van Sciver props up. And if you notice, anybody who gets propped up outside of his little Marvel and DC pros group is usually somebody who doesn't deliver or has problems or is mentally ill, and that way he can show like like this like disparity between the kings and of course the next level, who he's being magnanimous to of course try to quote help out. And when you see those people, they're all like got massive problems, and that way it also just points right back to them, so that the end result is you better only back Ethan and John Malin and Shane Davis because they're the only real ones, right? And so it's a big scam. It's a big Ponzi scheme, and that's what we have here. Well, nobody's even reading their books, even the people who are aspirational down below, as we're about to see in this clip right here from John's Longbox. This is pretty damning evidence right here. Very funny stuff, as Liam Gray cannot name any of the characters that are going on.
Characters are. Dude, I know the whole story. I know everything that you sold. I'm saying that. Like, that's another funny thing recently is like, you know, like everybody in ComicsGate knows who Eric July's characters are, but like a lot of people can't name any ComicsGate characters.
Oof, that's really painful, and it's really true what Matt Barr is saying here. Can you name any of John Malin's characters? I certainly can't. I've had a couple of his books. I can't really name any of Shane Davis's characters either. The only reason you can with Ethan is because the book says Cyber Frog on the front, but that's it, right? I mean, it's pretty funny on that level. But yes, none of the characters are memorable. None of them are interesting because they don't really have any depth and they don't have any personality, because it's just about these guys showing off that they can draw on 90s Image comic style like everybody else in 90s Image comics.
Like, can you name some of the people from Graveyard Shift? Bro, I can name everybody. Give me two. I can name your entire family. I'm not talking about my family, you fucking creep. That's what I'm saying, and that's another thing. It's like, at what point did the families get involved? See, now that you're talking about my families, you have my fucking... Oh no, you're gonna go there now. Not a monkey. Isom, Yara, you know this already. Horseman, anytime anybody questions we all know the names. I do not answer. I'm not...
And that's it. They don't answer, just like Liam Gray couldn't answer in the original clip, which I thought the original clip was going to be played here. Sorry about that. Do we got it right here? I think we do. Here we go. Yes, this is the original that they're mocking because Liam Gray couldn't do it. Now this guy can't. And as you can see, nobody's reading these ComicsGate books. That's the whole problem here.
Name a character from Graveyard Shift. Yeah, ask me all of this stuff. No, I'm not doing it. I don't remember because I read so much. You know, I'd have to have the stuff. If you want me to like remember stuff and cover stuff, I have to like sit and read.
Look at how mad he is about asking to name a character from a book he supposedly loved. And that's exactly what's going on here. None of these people actually love these books. They just love the clout that these people offer on their live streams. Liam Gray got offered up as like this like sacrifice to them. Made a couple 20 grand or whatever on his book, and that hasn't been enough for him at this point. And of course, he's been left to flounder, and when they don't promote him, he makes zero. And that's the problem. These guys are not propping anybody up. They're not building anybody. They're not building any kind of movement. They're not helping anybody out for real. They're doing it to show their power and to show the fact that like people should be supporting them, and that's all that it comes down to at the end of the day. That's why we want to support real books, of course, like John Longbox's and Heroic Tales. And so we're going to do that here. We're not going to promote our book at all on this channel, on this video. We're just going to promote John Longbox because he asked the hard question, which was, can you name a character? It wasn't even a gotcha. He was just trying to help out. And of course, they were talking about characters. They were talking about books. They were talking about what makes things great. And you're supposed to like just believe that they're fantastic comics. Well, you can't read them. You can't know them. You can't find them, you know, because of course they don't offer them. They make this fake scarcity sort of thing where it's like, oh, you only could get it during the campaign, because it's not about reading. It's just about simping for these guys on these stupid live streams. And this got exposed very, very hard over the weekend. Now they're very mad at it. Like I said, John's Longbox is just getting post after post on X where Ethan Van Sciver is losing his mind at him right now. Super funny stuff. And I heard that Ethan did a 5-hour live stream going, JDA's a liar. Nut job over the weekend on Father's Day. Go spend time with your kids and your family on Father's Day. What the heck are you doing? This is what this is about, guys. And that's why we need a new movement. That's why we're building something better. Glad you guys are here. I'm going to put this in the description below so you can check out Heroic Tales, my friend. John's Longbox did a wonderful thing again. Appreciate you for being there. And join our community, guys. Got my newsletter so you can stay in touch. And of course, I've got a Discord link in the description below. We talk comics. We talk a lot of things. And I appreciate you guys being there and part of the community. You're amazing. We're building a better movement that's starting with comics first, my friends. And I appreciate you for being here. It would help if I turned off my video. I'm going to do that now. And then I'm going to edit this out.